Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Scrapbook.com recently sent me their Artis craft glue, so I thought I would do a quick video to try it out. The glue comes in this cute little box, and this is a 4-ounce bottle. The box includes a precision tip guide and a set of different tips for your glue bottle. According to the label, this glue is non-toxic, has long-lasting hold, dries clear and smooth, and is perfect for paper crafts. The very first thing you'll need to do is remove the red stopper. So first you'll twist off the outer cap, then you'll remove that inner piece, and I'm using a baby wipe to pull out the red stopper. And you can throw that piece away, you won't need it. It just helps so the glue doesn't leak and transport. Then you can replace the original cap, and you can use the glue with this cap. It does have a wider opening than the other tips that are included in the package. So I'll do a line of glue using this cap on a scrap piece of cardstock so you can see how narrow or thin the line will be depending on which cap you choose. I like that the box includes several different tips, so you'll find the perfect option for you. I always lean toward the ultra fine. I like having that super narrow tip. In order to use the other tips that are included, you will need to replace the original top with the white cap. With the white cap, you can then twist on all of the other tips one at a time. The long green tip is the fine tip. The very short white piece, this is the storage tip. So if you twist this on, you're not going to get any glue out. And if you're not actively doing any crafting, this is a good tip to use. Then there's the medium size. This is the ultra fine tip, and it has the metal piece in the center. This is the tip I'll be using. There's also a cleaning pin, and this slides perfectly into the ultra fine tip, and it helps prevent the glue from clogging. I do recommend wiping off the tip and the pin in between using. That will also help prevent the glue from clogging. So using the ultra fine tip, I'll put a line of glue on my scrap piece of cardstock, and you can see the difference between the original tip and the ultra fine. The ultra fine tip is perfect when you're gluing down intricate die cuts. I'll insert the pin back into the ultra fine tip, and to make sure I don't lose all the other tips, I'll put them inside the little plastic container. You can also purchase the precision tips individually. And I love that they do offer them individually. Perfect if you end up losing the pin, which I have done many times before with other glues. But what's really fun, you can also use the tips on Scrapbook.com's Pops of Color. So if you want that super fine line of the pops of color, you can add one of the precision tips. I will be sharing some cards today using the new glue and also Scrapbook.com's Berry Sweet pattern paper. I have the 6x8 size and also the A2 size, and I will be using both of them throughout the video. I love having the option of the two different sizes. I'll flip through it quickly so you can get an idea of what's included. There are 5 sheets of each pattern, and this is a nice heavyweight cardstock. You'll get a total of 40 sheets. So you have plenty of pattern paper to play with. I will be using a few different die sets from Scrapbook.com. I have Berry Sweet, Happy Birthday word dies, and also Thank You set number 3, plus their delicate leaves. For one of the cards, I'll be using the Berry Sweet stamp set. I love all the little sentiments, and as you can see, I'm using the word hello. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. I will be using a card sketch for inspiration. This is from Sketch Saturday. It's number 666. The background of the card will feature the adorable cherry pattern paper. For the wider strip going across the card, I'm using the black and white gingham. And for the smaller piece, I'm using some red cardstock, and this is from the same Berry Sweet collection. Some of the patterns have a solid color on one side. I'll first layer the cherry paper on some black cardstock, then layer it again on some red cardstock. I'll put adhesive on the back and add my card front onto a card base. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. The adhesive I'm using in the video is by Scrapbook.com. It's their Deluxe adhesive roller. Next, I'll add the gingham panel toward the top of the card, following the card design. Trying to make sure to get it nice and straight. For my image box, I have a piece of white cardstock and I'll be layering it on some black cardstock. I did cut this piece a little bit wider than what's indicated on the card sketch. The white box is 1½ inches by 2 inches, and the black layer is an additional 1/8 inch. Inside the image box, I'll be adding the cherry die cut. This is so cute. It has some of the faux stitch detail around the cherries and also the leaves. I did cut out 2 pieces of the cherries, layered them together just for some extra stability. The green cardstock for the stem and leaves is from Scrapbook.com's Floral Smooth Cardstock. There is 1 shade of green included in the Berry Suite, but I wanted a slightly darker green cardstock color. I'll put glue on the back of the image panel, adhere it to the card, then I'll add the cherry stems and leaves, and finally the cherries. For a sentiment, I stamped out the word hello, and I cut it out using the tiny banner die that's included on the Berry Suite set. I'll be adhering it on the right side of the cherries. Since most of that sentiment will be going off of the image panel, I will add some scrap cardstock pieces to help level it out. For embellishments, I'm adding a couple of Honeybee Stamps Crystal Glimmer enamel stickers. I'll put 2 in the upper right-hand corner and 1 to the left of the cherry image. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 featuring the cherries. Using the same card sketch, I've made another card, this one featuring the strawberry pattern paper. I have most of it assembled. I'm adding the strawberry die cut, and this is part of the Berry Suite die set. For the background of this strawberry, I cut this out from some of the pattern paper, really trying to focus on that light pink color. And I used some red cardstock for the main layer that has that stitch detail, and some green cardstock for the stem area. Glue all of those together using the Artis glue. I'm adding the same sentiment hello, putting those scrap cardstock pieces on the right side, and I'll adhere it above the strawberry on the right. Then to finish off the card, I'll add more of the Crystal Glimmer enamel stickers. So there is my finished card. I made 2 with the strawberry pattern paper and 2 with the cherry pattern paper. The papers in this collection are so cheerful, perfect for summertime. Now moving on to card design number 2. The card sketch is from Freshly Made Sketches. This is number 585. There's a beautiful floral paper included in the Berry Suite collection, and I really wanted to feature that on a card, but I thought I would do it a little bit differently using this sketch. I cut down a floral paper 3½ inches wide, and each of the strips are 3/4 inch. I'm adhering them onto a vellum layer. This piece is 3 3/4 inch by 5 inches. To help get those strips nice and straight, I'm using the grid lines on my mat, starting with the piece in the center, and since I'm adhering them onto vellum, it was super easy to line them up since I could see the grid markings through the vellum. After adhering the center strip, I'll add the 2 below it, then I'll add the 2 above. Now I'll flip over this panel, put glue on the back side just behind the pattern paper areas. I don't want any of the glue to show through on the vellum. Then I'll adhere it onto a polka dot background, and this piece is 4 inches by 5¼ inches. I'll put adhesive on the back and layer it on some pink cardstock, and this pink color is part of the Floral Smooth Cardstock pack. After adhering the polka dot panel, I'll add adhesive on the back and put my card front onto a card base. I was flipping this panel upside down and right side up, trying to figure out what is the correct direction for the flowers. For a sentiment, I'll be adding the word hello. The die set has the word and also the outline. I cut out 2 of the outlines. One from the same pink cardstock I used for the background, and the other is a red cardstock and is part of the Floral Smooth cardstock collection. I'll add the sentiment onto the pink layer, then adhere that piece onto the red cardstock layer, offsetting it slightly so you'll see a drop shadow of the red cardstock. I will be popping up the sentiment. I'm using Scrapbook.com's thin foam strip dimension. I'll add 3 pieces on the back side, remove the release paper, and adhere the sentiment in the center of the card. I cut out several leafy branches. This is from the Delicate Leaves die set. I used 2 shades of green cardstock, and these are also from the Floral Smooth cardstock pack. The colors work really well with the Berry Sweet collection. I'll add 3 of the branches above the sentiment on the left side and 2 underneath the sentiment on the right side. And I will trim down the bottom portion of the branch just to make sure I can fit it underneath. I'll put glue on the back to adhere the branches in place, but I didn't add any glue to the very top leaf of each of the branch. That way I could curl it up for a little look of dimension. I have 2 more branches to add above the sentiment on the left side. For the final branch, I'll trim down quite a bit, so you'll just see a small piece sticking out above the sentiment. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. I really like how this one turned out. The sentiment is nice and bold, and that floral paper in the background is just beautiful. Now moving on to card design number 3. I selected a light green plaid design, and also this fun pink and white floral paper. I'll layer the floral paper on pink cardstock, and this is part of the Berry Sweet collection. I'll put adhesive on the back, add this panel onto the green and white plaid paper. Then I'll layer that piece on some bright green cardstock, and this color is also included in the Berry Sweet collection. You can see the cherries on the back side. I'll put adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base. The sentiment will be Happy Birthday, and this is a fun die set from Scrapbook.com. It has the background piece and also the outline that goes around the word birthday. I cut out the background piece from the same bright green cardstock and the outline from the pink cardstock. For dies like this is where it's very handy to have the super fine tip on the glue. Makes it much easier to add glue on the back without making a big mess. The die cut is fairly intricate, but they layer together beautifully. I started on the left side layering the word happy, then I slowly lowered that outline die cut on top of the word birthday. It does help to have a pair of reverse tweezers to hold those small die cuts when putting glue on the back. Once I have those 2 pieces adhered together, I'll flip it over, put glue on the back, and adhere the sentiment on the lower section of this floral panel. I'll also be adding a cherry die cut image. I've already assembled it, and I think it looks super cute in pink. I'll put glue on the back and adhere it above the sentiment on the right side. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 featuring the cherry, and I made another 2 cards following the same card design featuring the strawberries. And the main portion of this strawberry I cut out from the pattern paper that has all the seeds on it. Once I finished making all of those cards, I used a baby wipe to clean off the tip of the glue, and I reinserted the pin. And here's a look at the scrap piece of cardstock where I put all the glue lines. After assembling 4 cards, this is what it looks like. You can see that very thin line is nice and clear, and the glue doesn't have a tacky feel. Now here's another look at the 10 cards I made using Scrapbook.com's Berry Sweet paper collection and also an assortment of their dies. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, including the new Artis glue, I do have links provided in the description box below. I was so excited when I saw the release of the new Artis glue. This is the first time I tried the glue, and I do really like it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.